Hello my friends, I'm back with the second part of the mini course that covers the basics of the continental knitting. Last week we discussed ways to hold yarn and adjust the yarn tension, and in this tutorial we're going to see how we can knit, purl and bind off stitches with the working yarn in our left hand. Let's start with the knit stitch. So take the needle with the stitches on it in your left hand and take your working yarn in your left hand and the empty needle in your right hand. Now keep the yarn at the back of the work, as we always do for knitting, and then insert the right needle into the first stitch on the left needle, go from left to right, and then move the tip of the right needle a bit to pick the yarn from right to left, like this. If you feel that this wrap is gonna slip soon like this, then hold it with your right index finger. And then pull the needle a bit down and out of the stitch, creating a new stitch. And slip the original stitch off the left needle. Let's do it again. So the work is at the back, the yarn is at the back of the work, and then insert the needle into the stitch. Move the needle a bit to pick the yarn. Hold the wrap if you need to. With more practice, you won't probably need to hold the wrap, but to feel safer, it helps. It helps to hold the wrap, and then you kind of more relaxed. You're not as stressed. Okay. Then pull the yarn through and slip it off. So insert, wrap, hold the wrap, pull it through, slip it off. I'm gonna knit till the end of this row. It's gonna be 10 stitches and I have just 3 more to go, and then we'll turn the work and move on to the purl stitch. When it comes to purling, there are a few ways to purl stitches in continental knitting. I'm gonna show you the way that I use. So bring the yarn to the front of the work, and then insert the tip of the right needle into the first stitch. You go from right to left, purlwise, like we usually do, and make sure that the yarn stays on top of the needle, just like this. Then move the needle a bit, because you already kind of created the wrap. See, because the yarn is already on top. If you just move the needle a bit, here you go, that's your wrap. And then move the left index finger to create a kind of a hook to hold that wrap down, like this. And move the right needle a bit down and to the back and out of the stitch. And slip the original stitch off the left needle. Let's do it again. So the yarn is at the front. Insert the needle into the next stitch so that the yarn, the working yarn, is on top of the needle already. So that's basically your wrap. Then move the needle a bit so the wrap stays there, doesn't slip off. And then hold the wrap down with your left index finger and pull the right needle through the stitch, creating a new stitch. And let's do it again. Insert, hold the wrap down, pull it through. Insert, hold the wrap down, pull it through. And so on and so forth. So I'm gonna purl all stitches till the end of the row, and then I'll show you how to bind off stitches. Of course, it's gonna be kind of a ridiculous swatch, so small, but we're doing it just for the sake of learning, right? Learning how to knit the continental way. So when it comes to binding off, there is no difference at all between the continental way and the English way of knitting. The only thing is that when you bind off, you work stitches using the continental way, not the English way. Otherwise, you simply knit stitches, knit 2 stitches or purl 2 stitches depending on the stitch pattern, and then insert the needle into the stitch and slip pull it over the other stitch. And that's it. That's the only difference. And I probably shouldn't have even mentioned binding off, but I thought you might have questions like, is there anything special about binding off stitches in continental knitting? So now you know that no, there is nothing special at all. Binding off is the same. Just work stitches using the continental way, which is basically quite logical, right? So you bind off all stitches, and now I have this little fella here, which is quite funny. See, and that's what we've just knit using continental knitting. That's it. Now you know the basics of the continental knitting. Give yourself some time to practice these new skills, and when you feel confident enough, use the continental way whenever you want to give your right hand some rest. Thank you for watching this video and have a wonderful week. I'll see you next Thursday.